The Energy Detectives learning scenario is suitable for children aged between 8 and 10 years old. Through completing this learning scenario, students will be able to distinguish between renewable and non-renewable energy sources. They will be assisted in identifying the energy sources used within their local area, while also exploring the role these resources play within their local energy system. This learning scenario includes a series of engaging lessons that explores ways of reducing carbon emission in an effort to move towards the use of renewable energy. The lessons aim to help students develop a greater understanding of renewable and non-renewable energy sources. The students will examine the use of energy within a variety of situations within their daily lives. The students will research the various means of transport in their area. They will hold a traffic survey, as well as talk about how the renewable and non-renewable energy sources impact the environment and the people who live there. The students will discuss questions on how to reduce pollution, as well as explore the use of alternative fuels and sources of energy. During the next lesson, students identify how energy is used in their classroom and school through completing their own energy consumption investigation and survey. This learning scenario assists students to consider the actions necessary to reduce future non-renewable energy consumption. The students are afforded the opportunity for an outdoor activity which will see them visit a hydroelectric power station, wind farm, or other power plant generating green energy. Following on from their visit, the students prepare their own videos displaying what they've learned. They also hold brainstorming sessions and conduct research in groups, as a result of which they create posters and PowerPoint presentations to practice public speaking skills. The lessons in this learning scenario can be taught on a standalone basis or as part of a more cohesive project over the course of a week, depending on school timetabling. Each of the activities has a multidisciplinary approach. Through the emphasis on discussion and group work, the students are encouraged to adopt an investigative role within the series of lessons. This learning scenario can be delivered in a face-to-face setting by one or more teachers, but will work equally well in an online classroom environment. It was easy to develop the learning scenario as the theme is extremely topical at the moment. The Live Terra pilot program was a great starting point and highlighted the key elements to be explored in greater detail during the learning scenario. There is a wealth of resources available on the topic, both online and from external organisations. It was important to keep the aims and objectives broad in order to facilitate the adaptation of the learning scenario to meet the needs of teachers using a variety of different curricula. I implemented the learning scenario with my own class, and the children were engaged with every element of it. The learning scenario was scheduled to take place over the course of a week, and each day the children were faced with a new task. This allowed them to explore the topic in great detail. As the week progressed, the children drew on the knowledge from previous days, and this helped their understanding of the key concepts being explored. The hands-on practical elements and group work made for a more inclusive environment where all children gained a level of success in each of the activities regardless of their attainment level. The children particularly enjoyed the traffic survey. At the start of the lesson, I explained to the students that they would be collecting information about traffic in the local area. I accompanied the class to the school gate, where they sat in a position with a clear view of the road. In groups of 2 to 4 students, they recorded the number of cars, buses, lorries, bicycles and pedestrians that passed by in a 30-minute period. The students returned to the classroom where they calculated the average number of vehicles passing our school per hour by multiplying their information by 2. The class then graphed the results using bar graphs and pictograms. Using the data the students recorded, the class discussed how they can motivate other students in the school to use a greener mode of transport. The students also discussed how some forms of transport can harm the natural environment. This led to the students drawing the conclusion that pollution can also have a negative effect on the health of humans. Through further discussion, the students explored and explained that cars are a major contributor to air pollution. They shared with each other what they had learned about alternative fuels and the different vehicles designed to minimize pollution. This led to the children designing their own eco-friendly vehicles. I would strongly encourage teachers to consider the use of outdoor activities such as the traffic survey with their classes while completing this learning scenario. While the thoughts of venturing outside with a large class group can be a little disconcerting, the benefits are tremendous. The best advice I can give teachers in advance of pursuing an outdoor activity is to visit in advance the area you will be attending. Have the children work in familiar groupings, read through any worksheets the class will use before going outside, and most importantly, give the students clear instructions as to the steps they will be taking in the outdoor activity. This traffic survey task allowed the children into the field where they could assume the role of scientists. This activity also tied in with the students' most popular activity, which was the presentation and sharing of knowledge at the end of the project. This aspect of the learning scenario took longer than originally planned, as the children were so engaged with the topic and eager to create a well-rounded presentation that they undertook additional research. Terra Mission has offered me a series of very concise lesson plans and an extensive bank of resources that will enable me to cover the topic of climate change in greater detail with the children in my class. Although each learning scenario is very structured, there is still the autonomy for me to act as facilitator and allow the children to take responsibility for their own learning through the many hands-on tasks. Since completing the Terra Mission program, the children have a heightened awareness around the issue of climate change. They will regularly discuss the topic and share any information they've seen on the news or read about in books or magazines. Some of the children are now making greater effort to reduce their own non-renewable energy consumption and are encouraging their parents to do likewise. Overall, Terra Mission has encouraged the children to think about climate change and how their actions can shape the future.
Life Terra is co-financed by the European Commission through the LIFE program.